I would never have believed that someday I was going to be standing here in the United States of America after 25 years. Thinking back 25 years ago, as one of my brothers had said. And to those of you that I may not have told this story, I've said this in our parish, and I think it's good on a day like this to let you know that originally I did not intend to be a priest. I had always wanted to be a medical doctor. I went through a government secondary school to our own high school, and I was very good in the sciences. We knew how to memorize Avogadro's law, Charles' law, Boyle's law, Gay-Lussac's law of diffusion. When gases react, they do so in volume. Equal volume of all gases under the same temperature and pressure contain the same number of molecules. You know, I still remember this. So we were very good in memorizing all this. And for us, that was how you were a smart guy, if you could pretend all this. And the teachers would always give you good grades. So being the first child, my parents wanted me not to be a priest, but to be a medical doctor, and I wanted to be. So this friend of mine, I won't call his name again, since there are people from my home that know them very well. So this friend of mine, who was a very church guy with his parents, they wanted him to become a priest. So the day he was going to the bishop, as at our time, you know, fathers, when to go to the seminary, we just went to Bishop Abuh and tell him you want to go to the seminary. There was no exam, nothing. And then he wrote your name and gave it to the vocation director. And then you went to Jos. So on this day, this friend of mine, he was going to Ida to go and see the bishop. And his mother said, will you go with your friend? I said, yes. So I went with him. So when we came to Ida, both of us went to see Bishop Abuh. So the bishop, he told the bishop he wanted to become a priest. I remember the question. Bishop said, why do you want to become a priest? He asked that young man. And he said, because I want to serve people. So Bishop said, well, you can also serve people in various ways, but you want to give your full time to serving people. He corrected him and then wrote his name. And the bishop said, what of you, young man? What's your name? I said, my name is Julius. He said, do you also want to be a priest? I told him, no, I don't want to be a priest. He said, what do you want to be? I told him, I want to become a medical doctor. He said, oh, that's good. And then he said, well, so when are you going to the medical school? I told him, well, I've done the exam for the University of Jos, and once the results are out, then I will go to the medical school. He said, when would that be? I said, that will be sometime in, maybe in August or January. So he said, okay, between now and then, what will you be doing? I said, nothing, I'll be home. He said, can I make a suggestion? I said, sure. He said, what if I suggest you go with your friend and stay with him in the seminary? Then, once your results are out, then you can come back and go to the medical school. I said, sure, that's okay. So he said, what's your last name? I said, Abuh. So he wrote my last name. So when I came home, I even forgot to tell my parents. So towards evening, something brought, I said, oh yeah. So I told my mom, I said, Mom, I went with this friend of mine to the bishop, and he said I could follow this guy to the seminary. And my mother said, for what? I said, well, he said I should go and stay with him, stay there. My mother said, I have never heard anything like that. You are not going anywhere. So my mother said, so dad said, don't worry yourself. Once he goes there, it won't take them 1 week before they kick him out. So it was like, okay, let him go. Let's have some peace in the house for the meantime. So that was how, then they gave us money to buy the cassocks. They bought cassocks, gave us money to buy books and so on. Even money for transport. They were giving us transport money then to go to the seminary. So that was how we came to the seminary. And then Sister Marie de Paul then, from Ireland, gave us exam. The exam was an English exam, just to check your English, to know which class you belong. So that was how we did the test. And then I went to A, that friend of mine went to B. So while we were still there, we had to see a spiritual director on a personal note. So I met with Father Sullivan. And then he says, why do you want to become a priest? I told him, no, I don't want to be a priest. He said, so what are you doing here? I said, my bishop said I should come. He said, really? I never heard anything like that. So then I explained to him why I came. Okay. So he said, okay, let me tell you this, Julius. If you become a priest, you will become a spiritual doctor. But when you become a medical doctor, you will become a physical doctor. You'll be a pathological doctor. You will take care of the body. But as a priest, you will take care, you can also be a doctor looking after people's spirits, be the spiritual doctor. I said, well, that's okay, that's cool. But still in my mind, I was not thinking of becoming a priest. So he gave me this book to read, The Confession of St. Augustine, and those famous lines of St. Augustine. When St. Augustine was talking about how he looked for happiness all over the world, and he couldn't find happiness. And then he says, most ancient, most beautiful. Too late did I come to know you, O God, that our hearts are restless until they finally rest in you. I say, wow. Say the heart of man is restless, searching after material things, that the only rest we can have is only when we get to know God. And that was the line that touched me. So that was when gradually I started thinking maybe I could be a priest. To make the long story short, that friend of mine never became a priest. And you know what I have become in 25 years. So it is indeed a day of gratitude. And I thank all of you for being here today. I know what it means to spend right from this morning. Some of you started traveling since yesterday. Some of my friends came as far as New York, as far as Germany, as far as Tennessee, Nashville, from South Carolina. Some of my parishioners and my friends from South Carolina. And as the bishop said, even from another country, Texas, they are still here again, okay? So all of you, and not everybody here today is Catholic, for your information. There are some people I've met along the way. Some people are here today, they're not Catholics. They belong to other faith. And as the bishop also said, as for our accent, there is nothing I can do for now. But if you want me to talk like you, the best I can do will be, I will try my best to try and be talking like you. That is just the best I can for now, okay? So if you don't understand me, just let me know and I will try to make sure you understand me, okay? I think that's the closest I think I can come, So I do understand those accents. I've been many years, I've been speaking my Nigerian accent, I know some people try, to mimic the American accent. I'm not that type, But once in a while, some of those accents will come. But what they can do is I will try my best to speak as slowly as possible, okay? My final request is keep me in your prayers, okay? I do need your prayers, and I will continue to pray for you. God bless you. Amen. So I think the